Hello, Sonor family. This is probably take 97. I've been at this all morning and cannot get it straight. So I hope this is the last take. I am ready to do something else with my life today. Anyway, today on Facebook, on my memories, on my normal personal page, pictures of a Ludwig Black Beauty came up. I used to swear by Ludwig 14 by 5s growing up. I imagine most of us have had some Ludwig snare drums along the way. And until you play a Sonor, uh, the Ludwig just is a no-brainer. There are a lot of people play those that use other brands of drums, and for a reason. I mean, Ludwig's really got it going on. They still, after all these years, they're still doing the seamless shell, which Sonor doesn't do. But anyway, so backing up a few years, back in 2017, I bought a Ludwig Keystone X rig with Atlas Pro hardware. If you really want to make a damn gig hard and not look forward to loading in and loading out, get you some Atlas Pro stuff or any of the really heavy hardware, regardless of what brand it is. That's one way to quickly suck the fun out of a gig, but that's another story for another day. So with the rig I got, Shane recommended I go with a 6.5 inch deep snare drum, which I'd really never done. I've had literally hundreds of snare drums over the years, as many of us have, and a few of them have been the deeper snare drums like that. But this was the first time that I spent good money on a really good snare drum, 6.5 inches deep. And it was the chrome over brass. I put the die cast Ludwig hoops on there, and it was a frickin' cannon. I mean, my bass player in practice one time said, "Man, that snare drum is a cannon." And all of my favorite snare drums have incidentally, or not, had die cast hoops. And my favorite Sonors came stock with Hella hoops. The D500 is an example. The Pro Light is an example. A drum so great, I bought it twice. But we'll come back to that. So when I got the Black Beauty, I went ahead just by default and ordered Ludwig diecast hoops to go along with it. I never played it with the triple flange hoops, but I really like the cross stick and the rim shots you get with a beefier hoop. And I'm a little bit more of a heavy hitter on the snare drum. Um, I was playing in a country band at the same when I had the Keystone X stuff, and I used a butt end stick. And when I hit the snare drum, I'm not doing a golf swing per se, but I do put a little extra oomph in that snare drum. And the bass player commented about it one day. He said, "One thing I like about playing with you is you always know where the downbeat is. You're going to hear that snare drum." And I took it as a big compliment, and it just kind of brought to the forefront of my brain something that I was, subconsciously doing anyway. Certain things should just stand out on that drum set, and the snare drum to me is not a subtle instrument. Sometimes, the bass drum might be a little bit more felt than heard. Different dynamics with the cymbals and the toms sometimes, but that snare drum should punch through. There are exceptions to everything, but I'm just talking about the vast majority of what I play. I'm gonna pop that snare drum, and somebody's gonna know it's there. So the hoops really are an issue for me. Now, the Ludwig Black Beauty is probably the shortest period of time I've ever owned a professional drum. Well, that's not true. I've got a Tama that I bought immediately before the Black Beauty that was even, I kept it a few days and sent it back. And I didn't have the Black Beauty long at all either. What happens when you set a bar so high that nothing else can live up to it? You either have to compromise or you just have to do what you have to do to get back to that level. And that's ultimately what I did. I had the 14 by 6 Pro Light in brass with the diecast hella hoops, and it was a phenomenal drum. Uh, I like the tones and the frequencies and all that. The hella hoops, obviously, going to color the sound in a different way that the triple flange would. But there were some airy frequencies. I'm not talking about ring or sustain. I'm just talking about in the color spectrum of sound. There was just an airiness that I just wasn't getting from anything else, possibly to do with the fact that this particular brass shell was not plated. I had a very specific thing I was trying to achieve, and my friend Tim kept telling me, just get another Pro Light. Well, I'll be damned if I was going to buy another Pro Light for two reasons. First of all, I bought one brand new, sold it used, and, lost, $400 in the sale. So to go back and buy another one new, I don't like buying used drums, especially snare drums. It's just a peculiar thing with me. I could buy a lot more gear if I bought used gear, but I'm just, you know what? We've all got our little quirks, and that's one with me. I like opening up a factory fresh box, knowing that nobody's, dropped the drum on the bearing edge or, knocked it out around somehow or whatever. So for me, I always spend the extra money. So I really didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to add, insult to injury. I've already lost money one time. Now I'm going to buy this thing again at a new price. So I really didn't want to do that. And secondly, I had decided to leave Sonor behind. Um, Not for anything that, anything derogatory on Sonor's part, just, I'd kind of done it for a long time, and thought I'd go try some new things and some fresh ideas. So for those two reasons, really resisted the whole ProLite snare drum purchase. And so I get the Ludwig Black Beauty, and I mean, it's a Ludwig Black Beauty. It is the epitome of snare drums in the drum world. Am I saying that it's the most awesome snare drum ever built? I'm not. What I am saying is that uh, anybody that's ever been a serious Ludwig owner probably either had one or aspired to. It's probably the most or one of the most notorious snare drums, if notorious is the right word, on the planet. The Acrolite and the Black Beauty. Virtually any drummer that's been playing more than a year or two would either have had one or at least know something about them. Uh, for us Sonar guys, the epitome I think would probably, if you had to pick one, would be the HLD stuff, the heavy die-cast, bronze stuff from over the years. But anyway, kind of getting off track here a little bit. So I get this snare drum, put the die-cast hoops on it, and it sounded good. It sounded really good. And I tried some different heads. I put some Aquarians on there, which didn't fit right. Ironically, Aquarians are usually very forgiving, but these flesh hoops really hugged up against the drum. And this drum was a little bit out of round, which was really peculiar because these are seamless shells. And, you just expect a little more than that. And it was a little bit out of round. So wound up not keeping it. And I did what I didn't want to do. I went with something that I had absolutely no doubt about. I knew it was going to work. I knew how it was going to turn out, which kind of sucks some of the fun out of that. When you do something and you already know the end result, it kind of takes a little air out of it. But at the same time, it was a little bit of a relief. It was a relief to know, okay, I'm done buying and selling, or buying and returning gear. I'm getting what I know works. I got it and put the EC1 back on there, and you know what? It was everything I thought it would be. So, a year ago today, I got the Ludwig Black Beauty. Very excited, and I used to be a Ludwig guy way back when I was growing up. And then again in 2017 when I had the Keystone X stuff. And there's going to be a whole different video. I've got some great pictures of all that. Probably some video. I think I can round up some video and audio too. But anyway, so uh, as awesome of a thing as Ludwig is, it's still when you've got the Sonar DNA in your system, It's just hard to find something that isn't a compromise, and that was certainly the case. And it's just the the 14 by 6 brass shell, which doesn't have any kind of plating. And I wonder if that's part of the magic, the fact that it's not it's got a lacquer, I'm pretty sure, but there's no kind of plating or coating on that. So I think we're looking at basically a raw shell, and that may be where those frequencies are coming from that I really like so much that make it kind of breathy, maybe. Just not real, I don't like it real dry and dead. There's just some air and a brilliance. That's a word. There is some brilliance to this drum that I really missed with the Thomas stuff and the Ludwig Black Beauty. And anyway, so oddly enough, I've recently sold that Pro Light and I've got the Artist Bronze, which has not come out of the box yet. I've been playing a compressor, and I'll do a video on that soon too. I made some mods to the compressor, and I don't feel like I've improved it. I think it was great out of the box, and I think I've kind of stifled it a little bit. More on that. I feel like I'm rambling, and I probably feel that way because I'm rambling. But I'll let you get back to your Friday. Feels like a Saturday. But anyway, tomorrow we got Ron Wixo on Sonor Talk, and I've got some more stuff I'm working on for you. Thank you for hanging in there through this beating. Uh, I'll try to do better next time. Thank you.